Hey, it's Lights Camera Jackson. Was having some picture video technical difficulties with the first LCJ Live. Tried that a few minutes ago. Going to see if this is any better and see if there's some Twitter issues today. Let's see. Yeah, it's still not looking great on the laptop version. I got my phone out as well. Bullet Train is your box office winner with $30 million. I've got SCOOB and Shaggy here with me because obviously the Warner Brothers headlines have not been spectacular this past week. It's been a rough week for Warner Brothers. I put RUFF for that. Yeah, because of Super Pets, because of SCOOB, and because of Batgirl. Canceling movies, that's tough. That is tough. It's tough on everyone involved. I think the picture quality is a little better. Yeah, let's go with it. I think it's a little better. I think we're going to go with it. All right. So let's jump right in. I think the Twitter things have resolved a little bit. Let's go to Bullet Train, $30 million. That's your box office winner. It's an okay open. It's a number one open. But I think Sony might have even been expecting a little more. Of course, David Leitch opened a movie exactly 3 years ago, Hobbs and Shaw, this exact weekend, the first weekend of August, to $60 million. And then, as I wrote the other day, he had double that for Deadpool 2 back in May of 2018, $125 million open for that. So David Leitch's movies now dropping half and half every time. But Brad Pitt and Sony got to at least be a little bit happy with the $30 million win. Could Bullet Train get to $100 million by the end of its run? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Nope is about to hit $100 million. It needs another day or two in order to do that. Super Pets, number 2, $11.2 million. It's at 45.1. Not great. Not great. This is not going to hit $100 million for Warner Brothers domestically, and I think they're disappointed in that. The Rock, Kevin Hart, a superhero movie, a DC movie, Super Pets, all of that. And yet, it's not going to get to $100 million. It's a worse drop for Warner Brothers than Smallfoot, which was their animated film back in September of 2018, and worse than The Bad Guys from DreamWorks, which came out this April. And Super Pets could make another 5 or 6 next weekend, another 2 or 3, because people are still going to Minions as well. Families are still going to Minions. So it's really interesting to take a look at all of that. Nope, with 8.5, it's at 97.8. It's going to cross 100. Remember, the other Jordan Peele movies made $175 and $176 million. Nope is not going to come close to that. Thor: Love and Thunder, 7.6. It's at 316.1. It just passed what Thor Ragnarok did for Disney back in November of 2017. Minions, 7.1 million. It's at 334.6. We could get to a point where Minions makes more than Super Pets, depending on the drops over the next several weeks and into Labor Day weekend, which is going to be a surprise to people and to the studios, that Minions could end up making more one of these weekends than Super Pets. 334.6 is just about $1.5 million away from passing the first Minions, which made $336 million back in 2015. Top Gun Maverick, another $7 million. It just keeps on rolling. 662.5. Where the Crawdads Sing, 5.7. It's at 64.6. Easter Sunday, a film I like to call a sitcom that has 4 episodes. That's basically what it is. Just $5.3 million for Easter Sunday this weekend. Elvis, another $4 million. It's at 136.5. Rounding out your top 10 is The Black Phone with $1.5 million. It's at 86. Jurassic World Dominion out of the top 10 made another $1.1 million. It's at 372. Vengeance also out of the top 10 made $710,000. It's at a little over $3 million after 2 weeks. And Bodies with $227,000 on the weekend that Pete Davidson, one of the film's stars, and Kim Kardashian split up. His new movie has a decent start in New York and LA theaters, $38,000 per screen average, $227 total. It's in 6 theaters. It expands nationwide this Friday coming up. So there you go. That's your top 10 chart. Let me talk a little bit more now that we're into this LCJ Live episode. Let me talk a little bit more in depth about the Warner Brothers situation with Batgirl. I was shocked about the Batgirl cancellation because not only of all the people involved, but you got Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. I think anyone would want to see a movie with Michael Keaton back as Batman. So that factor alone, to decide to cancel it, that stuns me. SCOOB, my friends Scooby and Shaggy here. When you cancel an animated movie that's been in the works for a long time and is almost done, that is heartbreaking to everyone involved in animation. That's heartbreaking to all the makers, the animators, the voice actors, the directors, the writers, the producers, the musicians, everyone, the lighting team. There's so many people that come together to make an animated movie. And when you say when it's almost done, nah, no one's ever going to see this, that is heartbreaking. It has happened before. DreamWorks canceled had a couple animated movies canceled in the transition from Fox to Universal taking over. They canceled a few animated projects. Heartbreaking. Blue Sky. Disney and Pixar have had their share of cancellations. Every studio has basically had some cancellations over the years. And movies that just didn't come together. This is a tough one because you had it almost completely done. It was ready for the holiday season, and now families aren't going to get the chance to watch this and have a fun night enjoying watching this on HBO Max. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I hope it gets released in some way. I really do, because that is, when you take that away from families, the opportunity to see a sequel to a good movie, a good Scooby-Doo movie, it's Scooby-Doo! Even the older Scooby-Doo fans would want to check it out, just like they did this 2020 version when it was released on VOD and then went to HBO Max very quickly. When you take that away, that's heartbreaking. I feel terrible for everyone involved that this guy, Zaslav here, terrible decisions. Awful. And basically saying, we want hits all the time. It's got to be hits. It can't be anything less than blockbuster hits. No! It's not the mentality you should have. It's terrible. All right, let's get to some of the movies I've seen and some of the other movies coming out this week that I've yet to see, but I'll tell you about them. First of all, there's a movie called Mac and Rita, which I watched last night. I cannot talk about this movie till Wednesday, but it's Diane Keaton. It's coming into the theaters. It's a comedy. That's out this week. I've also seen Emily the Criminal. I've got a review of that tomorrow at lights-camera-jackson.com. New dramatic thriller with Aubrey Plaza. It is a unique experience for sure. Is it a good unique experience or a bad unique experience? I will let you know with my review of Emily the Criminal tomorrow. I Love My Dad. It's in select theaters, but it's going to be on VOD this Friday. It stars Patton Oswalt. Wild comedy about him and his son trying to reconnect in social media, and it's a crazy horror story, basically, just like Not Okay, which is available on Hulu, and that's a fantastic movie. I Love My Dad. That is on VOD this Friday. Secret Headquarters is a new family film that I've also seen with Owen Wilson. It's going to be on Paramount Plus this Friday. Jerry Bruckheimer is a producer. Not allowed to talk about it yet, but it's a family superhero action mystery comedy. And does it work? That's the question. Does it work? I will let you know later this week if it does, if families are going to flock to Paramount Plus. This was supposed to be in theaters, and then it went to Paramount Plus. They said, we're going to put it direct to streaming. I wonder, you remember the phrase direct to DVD? I wonder why people haven't really coined the phrase yet, straight to streaming. That's, the alliteration there. Direct to DVD worked, straight to streaming also works. And that's what's the case now with Secret Headquarters. So I've seen all those. I have not yet seen Fall, but I'm going to be screening Fall. And that is Lionsgate going to theaters. It's supposed to be this really intense thriller. And also I have not yet seen, but will be watching Day Shift, which is on Netflix this Friday. Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco action movies. So going to be watching those and screening those. I watched the other night 13 Lives. Wow. Incredible movie about the Thai soccer team cave rescue movie. It's from 2018. The details, the emotion, the impact. Ron Howard takes you right into it. Not just in the cave and the water and this entire operation to try to get these kids and their coach out. But he puts you in the middle of the emotions that everyone is feeling as they're planning this, as they're trying to figure this out, as they're wondering what to do, as they're interacting with the families, the divers, the rescuers, played by Colin Farrell and Viggo Mortensen and Joel Edgerton. They're all fantastic. Interacting with the families, interacting with the government, the governor in particular, on his way out, but has to go through all of this. Excellent movie. Stunning revelations in it. If you don't know the story all too well, it gets you. It is 2.5 hours long, but it is worth your time. It's available on Prime Video. And I say this, watch it on the biggest screen you can. Watch it on the biggest screen possible to experience it fully. This was a movie that was supposed to come out in April in theaters from MGM. Then they did some test screenings and audiences loved it. And they said, let's put it into theaters, but in November, more in the heart of awards season. Then Amazon took over MGM and said, no, we're going to put it out in select theaters on July 29, a handful, and then we're going to put it straight to streaming on Prime Video on August 5. I kind of wish it went to theaters, to more theaters, got that impact, got the award season impact, because I hope this film is not forgotten, but there's so many movies on the way that may end up being the case, and it should not be forgotten. Biggest screen you got, you will be in it. I really think you will be, because it's the kind of movie that quickly compels you. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be so compelling, and it is. It's incredibly compelling. You're with it the entire time. 13 Lives. Ron Howard film. Very good. I was going to look up, actually, some of Ron Howard's most recent movies and kind of where it ranks among some of my favorite Ron Howard movies. Now, I have not seen every Ron Howard movie, but it's a heck of a lot better than Hillbilly Elegy and Solo, A Star Wars Story. Inferno I liked, didn't love, but I liked. It's better than In the Heart of the Sea and Rush. Frost Nixon is one of my favorite movies about television and politics. I really like Frost Nixon. I think it's up there, 13 Lives, with Frost Nixon as some of my favorite Ron Howard movies, The Grinch as well, and some of the other films he's directed over the years I've seen. A few others. It's very good. 13 Lives. I would absolutely say it is Ron Howard's best movie since Frost Nixon, without question. Looking over this list, yeah. So check it out on Prime Video. So this week with the movies in theaters, Emily the Criminal. I hope people see it. I'm going to reveal now that I hope people see Emily the Criminal, but it's not going to make a lot of money. Fall, it's not going to make a ton of money either. I don't know if people know some of these movies exist. Mac and Rita, it's not going to make a ton. You know what else is coming to theaters this weekend is the re-release of E.T. in IMAX. How will that do? That'll be interesting to take a look at. What's going to be your number one movie? Obviously Bullet Train. Bullet Train's going to be number one again next weekend. Maybe $15-17 million. That's going to be good enough to win. Following week, the biggest theatrical release is Beast with Idris Elba. And how high will that open? I don't know if it'll get over 10 million in the open. It depends. Bodies will be increasing to more theaters, but I don't think it's going to make 17 million out of the gate. Bullet Train will be number one again. We'll see how some of these other movies do. Didn't love Bullet Train. Went to it Tuesday night at a screening. Yeah, not a fan. Very annoying. Annoying movie. Typical ultra-violence. Sick of all these ultra-violence movies. Want to be Tarantino, want to be Guy Ritchie movies. If you want my thoughts on that, thoughts on Prey, which is on Hulu, and Mr. Candid Camera, new documentary. Mike Sargent and I review all three of these movies on a special new episode of the Too Fast 2 Films podcast. Go to toofast2films.com for that brand new episode. So that's where we're at in the world of movies. My heart goes out to all the people involved in SCOOB and Batgirl and all the other projects that Warner Brothers and HBO has canceled over this week. Remember, Warner Brothers has released 4 films theatrically so far this year, with only 3 to go. Don't Worry, Darling in September, which could make some money, but how much money is a question. Black Adam in October, Shazam sequel in December. They're going to make a lot of money, but can you call it a spectacular year for Warner Brothers? In the theaters? I guess when you say, well, the Batman made $369 million, Elvis is doing well, it's made $136.5. Fantastic Beasts did not do well, just 96. Super Pets is underwhelming, it's at 45. Don't Worry, Darling, who knows how that'll do, and then 2 blockbusters at the end of the year? What do you call that out of 7? I mean, half worked, half didn't-ish. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. Especially last year, Warner had so many movies, but all of them were direct to HBO Max as well as being in theaters on the same day. They had a lot to make up for losing some of them for being in theaters in 2020. Yeah, it's a tough one, and we'll see where things go. Will more projects be canceled? What's going to happen with some of these up-in-the-air movies for the studio? We will see. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. Keep it to my social media. That's Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, YouTube.com/LightsCameraJackson. Website's lights-camera-jackson.com. I was back on 99.5 The River the other day, back on this week. More LCJ Q&A podcast episodes are coming. Back to You podcast September 19th with James Burrows and maybe some more surprises. And more AnimationScoop.com Q&As are coming. And more on the way this week. There's a new Disney animated series, Hamster and Gretel, from Dan Povenmire, the creator of Phineas and Ferb. That's premiering Friday night. And some more surprises on the way. So keep it to all things LCJ. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for going along with the few technical difficulties we had out of the gate. But I think we're good now. Appreciate you watching LCJ Live. Have a good Sunday. and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.